All right, 1, take out as much debt as you can. 2, flee the country. I mean, that's not terrible financial advice, but I mean, I wouldn't do it myself. What's up, you guys? My name is Antoine, and welcome to my channel where I like to go through real estate and investing. And if that sounds good to you, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the bell notification. And today we're going to be going through Reddit to find the best financial advice. And I'm going to be giving my opinion, and hopefully you'll comment down below and chime in as well. So let's see what we got. Alright, so what is your best financial advice? 2 years ago? Okay, so got some time on it. So we got Big Peeler. Save and live as simply as you can, especially when you're starting out. Learn to tell the difference between your needs and your wants. He's 58 years old, and he says to trust him. You'd wish you saved every extra dollar bill. That's pretty solid advice. Living outside of your means is definitely something that the average American kind of does, and not being able to distinguish your needs and your wants is definitely a key factor in that. So definitely figuring that out. Pretty solid financial advice. So let's go to the next one. Set up a reoccurring transfer of some kind. Savings account every single month and paycheck. Even if it's $20, it's something. Forget about the money. Live on what's left and just let it grow. It'll be there when you need it. And an unexpected $500 repair bill becomes a frustration instead of a catastrophe. No, I mean, that's good advice. If you set up something recurring, it'll be a lot harder for you to just kind of, not save because you already set it up. So, I mean, that's better than nothing. We want to save a lot, but saving $20, it's a start, right? It's a start to build good habits. So this next one, just buy decent stuff and make your own food. Don't buy that ready-in-a-minute stuff or eat out. That's going to quadruple your cost of eating. Don't buy stupid stuff you don't really need. And if you want a TV, is it going to pay for itself? I don't have a TV. Well, it's good for him that he doesn't have a TV, but I don't know how else he's going to watch this video of me commenting on him. But in terms of making sure your food cost is really low, by cooking yourself and not eating out as much, that definitely will bring down your expenses, and I think that's a good tip. But obviously, life's not just about saving money, so don't be afraid to spoil yourself on a nice meal every now and then. Okay, this guy has a few, and he has bullet points. Mathematically, a penny saved is the same thing as a penny earned, so if you can cut spending, that's the same thing as getting a raise. Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, that is where the saying comes from. Live below your means. Like I said earlier, when you get a raise or a better job, upgrade necessities, but don't change your standard of living. For instance, buy new clothes. If yours are ripped, get a better car. If you have a beater, expect to have a good car. Went from a college student to a $250K lawyer. Don't drive it used. Don't cheat. Okay, comfortable shoes. Comfortable. No, I mean, yeah, that's what's called. It's called lifestyle inflation. When you get a raise and you up your standard of living, you want to move to the newer apartment, or you want to move to and get a nicer car. It's also called like meeting the Joneses, right? Like you're always trying to compare yourself to your neighbor who has all these things, and by doing that, you can put yourself in kind of a hole. So he's just kind of saying, just buy it if you need it, and if you don't need it, don't buy it. Save money every month. If you don't go back to your budget. If you don't earn enough, look for money elsewhere. Promotion, side job, better job. No, yeah, save money every month. That's solid financial advice. The amount or the percentage that's healthy, I would say at least 20 to 30% of how much you take home. That's a good place to start. But obviously that's difficult for some people. Pay your future self and add to your retirement. Yep, that's what investing is. Market crash, you're under 60, don't worry about it. That's, yeah, I guess. Your best financial advice, don't worry about it. Okay. Start a Roth IRA in your 20s. No, not your 30s, not your 40s, your 20s. Well, I'm already in my 30s and start it. Okay. No, yeah, starting a Roth IRA, the seventh wonder in the world is compounding interest. So definitely the earlier you start one, the better off you'll be in the long term. So this next one's pretty good. Have kids only if you can afford it. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, neck deep in debt, you probably can't afford to raise and financially support a child responsibly. And I see this a lot of times where you have a younger couple who has a child and now they have an extra mouth to feed, extra clothes to buy. And I mean, it's definitely something tough that you want to be in a good financial position to be able to support a child. So I agree with this completely. Have kids only if you can afford it. If you buy something, then don't be afraid to spend more on something more durable. Don't waste your money on things that will break, especially if you need to use it every day. Think of it as a long-term investment. On the surface, I feel like this is pretty good advice, but I mean, it becomes a slippery slope where you have someone who thinks that, oh, I need to buy this brand new car, so it'll never break down on me and I'll never have to worry about it. But in reality, you can probably get by with like a beater and you just have to take it in for more maintenance. You can save a lot more money on that. Next one, when putting money in savings, mentally mark it as spent instead of reserves. I think this is more of a psychological thing where a lot of people will put money into savings, but when they want something, they just buy it, right? So if you think of it as spent, then obviously you can't spend it again. So I think, yeah, to keep your savings a legitimate savings account, or if it's your emergency fund, to keep it legitimately for emergencies, definitely to think of it as spent instead of reserves. I agree. Next one, make a freaking budget. Spreadsheets are easy to learn. Use OpenOffice if you're a cheapskate. I mean, you could just use Google Sheets. It's free with a Google account. Overestimate your expenses, underestimate your income. Try to keep $460 in the black. Yeah, I mean, if you're able to keep $400 $600 in the black, you're able to invest that, save it, put more into your emergency fund. But yeah, the importance of budgeting is definitely something that's overlooked because it seems like it's too hard. But there's so many apps out there nowadays that you can just use in order to kind of figure out where all your money is going. And I'll link some of them in the description down below. Set up some sort of automatic withdrawal into an investment account. Get used to never seeing that money. If your employer offers a 401 match, max it out. So yeah, this is solid advice. I use Acorns that automatically withdraws from my account whenever a large portion is deposited into it, as well as it just pulls it off from like all my purchases, like 50 cents or whatever. It rounds up. So just kind of doing that, and that always kind of keeps money going into my investment accounts. And then for a 401k with match, max it out. Personally, yeah, I just go up to the match. Okay, this one's like a small essay, but pay off your credit card bill before it gets too high and put the smallest amount into your savings account. Each paycheck, I always pay my credit card bill. Once it hits 200, my limit's 1800, but I never spend that much. Paying it off, the balance still low and affordable. Good habit. Okay, pay that. Okay, so basically he's saying to pay off your credit card, right? So I mean, ideally you'd be using your credit card like a debit card. So as soon as you buy something, you kind of try to pay it off as soon as it shows to your account. That's what I do personally. And I made a credit card video, so if you haven't seen that already, I'll also link that in the description down below. Save effing money and don't buy stuff. That's all. There's many ways to do both. I mean, in short, that is what investing is. You gotta come up with some capital somehow. If you have some extra money lying around, don't leave it in your bank. Find some index fund, mutual fund, or ETF and toss your money in there. Average S&Ps, yeah. No, I mean, that's true. The S&P shows 7% growth on average. So it doesn't always give you 7%. It sometimes gives you more. Sometimes, it gives you less. But it averages out to about 7%. So yeah, I mean, if you have some extra money, it's easy to just throw into an S&P and kind of forget about it. And that's partially what I do. Live within your means. If you can't afford a type of lifestyle, don't try to live it. I mean, like I said earlier, the lifestyle inflation is definitely a big thing as your income goes up or your sources of income goes up. If you want to buy something expensive, do your research or ask an expert and be ready to pay more for something usable. Buy a car cash, buy a car only if you have to. The first one, yeah, I mean, I agree completely. Assuming you're not buying like a $30,000 car, like if you're buying a nice $7,000, $8,000 car, buying it cash can definitely save you on a lot of things, save you a lot of money down the road without having to pay interest. And the second part, buy a car only if you have to. I recently just bought a car in January, and since before then I was just taking the train everywhere, and I didn't need a car, but it definitely makes my life a lot easier. When you get a pay raise, don't adjust your lifestyle to match it. Lifestyle inflation again. There is good debt and bad debt. Know the difference. Credit cards are great for everyday purchases, monthly expenses. If you pay them off without interest, that means paying the entire balance off every month, or even twice a month if you want to stay on top of it. I pay it literally as soon as it gets charged to my account, so I don't forget about it. You will inherently end up with both good and bad debt at the same time. Know which one to pay off quicker based on terms of the loan and interest rates. I had a coworker who came in ecstatic one day when she paid off her car 6 months early. After congratulating her, I asked her what was next, thinking maybe she was going to splurge on something for herself since she didn't have a monthly payment from that car anymore. Her response is, now I need to pay off the $6,000 I have on my credit card. No, yeah, you have to know what kind of debt you carry, and paying off your car is awesome, but if you're paying 4 times as much more on your credit card, definitely pay that off first. So evaluating what debt you have and paying that off first is definitely a good financial advice. Yeah, it is possible that they had 0% interest on their credit card. I know a lot of people will do that, and they'll do like a 3% balance transfer and just gradually pay it off at 0%. It's only money you'll make more. My friend told me this once when I was a broke college kid and kind of stuck with me. Definitely isn't for everyone, but he's absolutely right. I was always bailing and not doing anything fun because I thought I should save the money instead. And while saving money and smart financing is important, I think people forget why they save it in the first place. It's okay to splurge every once in a while. Spend some money on yourself, go on that trip, go out with your friends, buy some new clothes. Obviously, don't be an idiot with your money, but spend your whole life stressing about money and being cheap all the time because it sucks. Money can buy happiness, in my opinion. I agree with this yes and no, mainly because I've noticed pre-COVID a lot of people would have birthdays, and it just seemed like every weekend somebody was going out to celebrate something, somebody was in town. And I mean, all that really adds up between Ubers, foods, drinks, and you're looking at $200-300 a weekend. So I mean, definitely making sure when you do go out, it's definitely, worth it, and it's with the right people that you generally enjoy, and you're not just going out just to go out. But it's a lot different now because of COVID. You aren't rich enough to buy cheap things. That's to say, invest in a $120 to $200 pair of boots instead of buying a cheap pair that won't last the winter. Yeah, I mean, I agree. You should definitely try to buy quality. Don't look to your friends' social media for validation and roadmap to where you should be going financially. Instagram's a highlight reel, not the whole game. I agree completely. Everything on social media is just the wins. People seldom show the losses unless they're like asking for money. Avoid debt. This is the number one advice I'd give to high school kids. Don't get a credit card unless you're responsible, which at 17 is debatable. True. Don't apply to an Ivy or private college unless you're getting a full ride or scholarships and grants, or if your parents are paying for it. But no, yeah, I agree completely. Credit cards are definitely something that could be abused and misused very quickly, especially at 17, 18, 19, 20, even older than that. Feel that you're financially responsible and you're able to treat your credit card like a debit card. I wouldn't recommend getting a credit card. Money's made to be spent. If you're going to save it, might as well invest it. Check out r/personal finance and make money work for you. Alright, I might have found a different subreddit to go check out at a different video. A trick I do for everyday spending is not to buy something unless I have double that amount. Sure, it costs $9. If you can buy it and still have $9 left over, you're good. This is an absolute rule, just to curb frivolous spending. Yeah, I know the minority mindset has a rule of 6. If you can't afford 6 of them, then you can't afford 1. So, yeah, I guess that's similar, and I kind of agree with it, but I mean, I also, do not really try to spend money at all. Sales and coupons are your friends. Agreed. Yeah, okay, he may turn some off, but check out Dave Ramsey. I worked in radio and we carried a show. I may not walk with the Prince of Peace, but he does have solid advice. Dave Ramsey, very solid advice for the average American. For someone who only has good debt, he's okay. Save up for retirement as soon as you have a job, even if that means you're in your 20s. Yeah, we all got to retire one day. Instead of deciding what you want and figuring out ways to afford it, figure out what you can afford first and find something you want for less. Every penny saved grows with compound interest. I'd rather have a nice bank account or investment than something that depreciates to half its values or less in 6 months. I think he's taking shots at brand new cars. There's a curve on how much a brand new car depreciates as you take it off the lot. So I think the best time to buy a new car would be about 3 years in. So 2017 models have lost most of their value, so buying them would probably be the best if you want a newer car, or you could just get a really old car. Have an emergency fund that covers 6 months of living expenses in the event you lose your job. Yep, that's solid advice. I'm pretty sure Dave Ramsey says the same thing. Have an extra cushion to cover surprise expenses like car repairs. I mean, you could put that into your budget, or you could just kind of lump that into your emergency fund. Get the company match for your 401k. If you don't, you're throwing part of your total compensation package in the trash. Most companies, they'll match up to 2 to 4%, so I mean, every dollar they'll give you, just put that much in. If you qualify for an HSA, make the maximum contribution. This is your second priority when it comes to retirement savings after getting the company match. So an HSA is a health savings account. I'll probably make a separate video on what exactly it is because apparently it's a triple tax advantage. Don't waste your money on stuff you don't really need. Moreover, don't manufacture needs that you don't already have. In other words, don't let friends, relatives, or advertisers tell you need a particular product if that product is optional. Don't let them tell you that you need a certain quality unless that quality saves you money in the long run. In other words, don't let social pressure or the feeling of being cool or looking rich lead you to spend 10, 20K more than you could have spent on a car. Something you know cares about car brands, hobbyists who are sacrificing for their hobby, and poor people who want to look rich. Most millionaires I've met, including me, drive things like Toyotas. The most wealthy people on the planet, like Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, they all wear normal things. They're not wearing Gucci or Prada. They're not whipping in Lamborghinis. I'm sure they have them, but they're not flashing it all the time. So I mean, looking rich just means looking like a normal person. Spending money on stuff makes you less satisfied with life and makes you want more stuff. Once the shine of the last round wears off, spending money on good memories, however, is worth it. Go ahead and save up for that trip to New Zealand, Singapore, China. You'll remember it forever. So yeah, buying experiences instead of stuff, I agree with completely. There's a saying, the man who needs the least has the most, which really just means the guy who doesn't need material things is the most wealthy. Never ever carry a balance on your credit card under any circumstances. The only circumstance I could see is if it's at 0% interest and you're leveraging money. Don't use credit cards except for emergencies. If you can't afford something, then save for it. It's a rather cliche statement, but it's true. You don't want to end up with 10K in credit card debt. It sucks. I'm not saying don't get or use credit cards because you need them to build credit. Just make sure you pay them all off ASAP. Okay, I mean the first sentence is kind of misleading, but yeah, if you're responsible and you pay off your credit card, it's a tool, right? It's not going to hurt you. I've seen the comparison to credit cards like fire, right? Like you can use fire to cook stuff, but you can also use fire to burn your house down, right? So it's a tool, and if you use it properly, it can be very beneficial. Okay, just some guys are going through why credit cards are awesome. All right, 1, take out as much debt as you can. 2, flee the country. I mean, that's not terrible financial advice, but I mean, I wouldn't do it myself. Money not spent is the same thing as money invested and returning 100% instant rate of return. I guess it's like a penny saved is a penny earned, but I mean, your money also loses value due to inflation. Save your money first, then spend it. Budget for savings the same way you budget for a trip, and aim for your savings to be equal to your fund money expenses, and you'll soon be a rich person. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair amount. I mean, if you budget as much as you're saving to as much as you're spending, you could be a rich person. Just avoid debt, not even kidding. Avoid college loans and credit card debt, and it's easy. I bought my first place before I ever had a decent job, and it was easy. Now I'm 29 and I own 3 investment properties. It was easy because I had no debt. Well, I mean, I guess it's pretty easy. You just don't have any debt and you can buy whatever you want. No, I'm just kidding. But avoiding college loans, I mean, I don't really agree with, just because like getting student loans is an investment, right? So if you take out 60K loans and your job out of college is 30K, then it's not a very good investment. But if you take a 60K loans out and you land a software engineering gig at 120K, then you probably got your money's worth on that investment, right? So it really just depends on what you're studying and what career path you're going into. Well, it looks like that's it. And that closes the thread. And there's some good stuff in there. There's a lot of stuff about credit cards and how to use them properly, as well as living within your means, as well as buying a proper vehicle and not overspending on it. So, I mean, overall, there was some pretty solid financial advice in this thread. And definitely comment below and let me know what you guys think. If there was some good stuff, if you thought any of it was pretty funny. And I'll see you guys in the next one.